All right, welcome in to College Hockey Southwest Weeklies, Long Distance Devils. I've got my man Paul Hornstein with me, back, warmed up, I think, a little bit from a trip to Boston, Massachusetts last weekend. But, Paul, how are you?
I think I've warmed up, but I'm not 100% sure. It was cold. Oh my God, it was cold, and I
Leaving you speechless, are we?
well, it's weird because we obviously the little beginning blurb when you first put it out on the website
Right.
Twitter feed, it's got all these views, and I'm like, people are either going to think I'm really cold or I'm really drunk.
Right.
So
I think they assumed you were cold. It was the red nose that gave it away.
it was cold. It was. And I'm just now warming up from it because.
Well, I understand you might be getting more.
Well, they've been wrong every other time.
Right.
With the snow. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, or at least I hope we don't get too much.
Well,
that's supposed to come tomorrow afternoon, just as I'm driving home from work, so that'll be really good.
I don't miss it a bit. Today, I almost had to put a jacket on. It's 74 degrees, and I thought, do I put the jacket on or not?
Did they check you for hypothermia?
No, I survived that.
Yeah.
All right,
okay.
let's get into this. Let's get into talking a little hockey. You got a chance to witness a Sun Devil split.
I did.
Coach Powers told me today that he thought they played well enough to win both games. He noted the fact that they outshot Boston University on Friday night. He also noted the fact that they put in his estimation, we put in 2 or 3 goals on our own goaltender, just on bad bounces. So he was all in all very pleased with the weekend. Your thoughts?
Well, we'll do Friday first. I don't think BU was that much better than them on Friday night. I thought BU was definitely the better team. Not by much. I know ASU outshot BU, but at least to these eyes, BU was like maybe a quarter of a step quicker, maybe a quarter of a step faster the puck than ASU looked like they were. At the same token, I don't think BU got a lot of high-quality scoring chances, though, either. So
right.
ASU, for the most part, held their defensive integrity. But Coach is exactly correct. They put at least 2 pucks in their own net. I felt really bad for Jared Gorley because he was the victim just about every time.
Right.
And it just was unfortunate. It just seemed like every time BU got one of their breaks, he was there. I'm not trying to single him out because he's played many good games too. It was just not his night. They got the game back to 3-2, and Chad Chris put in a goal to make it 4-2 late in the second period, and that was all she wrote. And let's face it, you put 2 in your own net, I don't even think the 80s Edmonton Oilers are going to be able to overcome putting 2 in their own net. And they scored a lot. So,
right. Yeah. Well, Coach Powers told me today that he was, like I said, pleased with the trip out there and all in all. And he said anytime you go on the road, your hope is a split. He said if you're able to sweep a team, that's really, kind of icing on the cake. But you want to go in there hoping to get a split on the road and sweep at home. And so he was pretty optimistic today when I visited with him about where everything was at. So optimistic, he didn't even go on the ice today in practice. He let him kind of scrimmage and do some stuff, and he watched from the bench while Coach Hicks and Coach Field did the yeoman's work out there.
Well, listen, the Friday night problems, as much as they can be called Friday night problems, I'm sure they're willing to try anything because there's no doubt which day of the weekend has been the better day of the weekend for this team, regardless of who and where they were playing. So, like I said, I don't think they played badly on Friday night, but I don't think they were the better team either. I don't think they were worse than BU, but when you put, like I said, once you put 2 pucks in your own net, it definitely comes across looking as much worse than it probably really was. So,
well, when you hear the Powers play tomorrow, Coach Powers will argue with me again on that. I asked him specifically. I said, "What's the difference between Friday and Saturday?" And he said, we're playing 500 hockey on Friday, and we're well above 500 on Saturday. I said, maybe I should rephrase my statement. What's the difference between Friday and Saturday? Because there's a difference. I don't care what he says. There's a difference.
But there is no question about it. If you looked at the level of intensity that ASU came out with on Saturday as compared to Friday,
right?
There was no question it was a much higher intensity. That's not to say that they came out and mailed it in on Friday.
Right.
It's just clearly when they have that extra desperation, they play much better. And they need to be aware of the fact that they don't have any more wiggle room. They need to play with that Saturday night desperation for the next 4 games.
Yeah,
I say
absolutely.
6 games, but we'll get to those last 2 if they get to that point. But these next 4 games are must wins. They cannot afford pairwise losses in these next 4 games. RIT is the higher ranked of the 2 teams. The last time I checked, they were at 30, but I might be a little bit off on that. Both them and American International right now are playing very, very well. So it doesn't matter what the numbers say. Right now, they can beat anybody playing the way they're playing. So
exactly, and that's what I wanted to jump into next. Was when we talk a little bit about their upcoming schedule. I put that magic number at 5. I know you say it's still 1.
Still 1.
It's 5. You got to have 5 wins, and you got to post 22. Pairwise can be what it is. As you saw this weekend, it went up and down from 17 to 12 to 11. But nobody's putting this team in if they're below 20 wins. And I have softened my blow a little bit on that. I've heard some things from sources around the NCAA that said, ASU is probably going to be the last team in as long as they don't lose out. And that was before last weekend. I still don't see that. I think they have to get 20 wins. And I really think they need 22. But we'll see. I mean, what I keep hearing from people is the same thing I hear about Joey DeCord is that, ASU's got a really tough schedule, the toughest schedule, and that's going to be enough if they have a good season to the point where they can maybe get 20 wins, they're going to be considered for that last spot based on the strength of schedule. I don't know. I'd rather see 22 to say that.
Well, 22 is obviously better, and I will fight you tooth and nail on this magic because I will. I'm the bulldog. I will keep going at this because 15 years of coaching, regardless of the sport, has conditioned me to think like a coach.
Right.
It's 1 game at a time, and you can't reduce the magic number down to 0 until you reduce it to 4. And the way you reduce it to 4 is to win on Friday night. So I can't worry about the other games right now. I can only really worry about Friday night in Rochester.
Absolutely. So,
and this is a good team. Both of these teams are good. You're playing on the road. It's a second straight cross-country trip. And I don't know what the travel itinerary is. I just know Rochester's a lot tougher to get to than Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's going to bother them too much. They're going to fly out tomorrow. They're going to be there again all day Thursday. They'll be there Friday and Saturday, and they'll come home Sunday. And then they'll look at it and go, you know what, we're done going east, at least until the NCAA regionals, hopefully.
Did Minnesota all of a sudden become West?
No, but that's Midwest. I mean, that's 2 hours less airtime than they're going to need there. Plus, it's a straight shot. I mean, it's easier than Boston or anywhere else. Probably easier than going to Denver because you fly right in and you're at, half hour from the rink. Not even that, 15 minutes from the rink. So, we'll worry about that when the time comes. But right now, let's talk. What I want to do is talk a little bit about A, Johnny Walker, and B, Joey DeCord. So let's take them in that order.
Right.
Johnny got 2 goals. He got back on track a little bit.
Did.
I'm taking credit for him because I had him on the show. I had him on the show, and I told him, I said, anytime you get the College Hockey Southwest Weekly Blessing, goals are going to come. So Jake Clifford, get ready, because I did the senior interview with him today. So Jake's ready. He's already got his stick warmed up. He thinks there's at least 2 coming.
Well, listen. First of all, I thought Saturday night Johnny was done. I thought he was done. He took that shot and he stayed down. Now I don't know how much. I don't know how much of it was him trying to make sure that they gave the BU player some extra minutes, and how much of it, because he got up, he was definitely flexing. So, and I don't care what you do and how strong you are, you get run into an ice hockey dasher, and your shoulder has a lot more give than the dasher does.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, I can attest today that he was the same old Johnny in practice. He was all over the ice. He was shooting the puck. He was yammering. He was doing everything that Johnny does. So congratulations for Johnny to getting 2 more goals, getting up to 21. He's on his way to 30. I said he'd get to 30. He's got, 6 games left to do it. So, and goal scorers, when they get hot, right?
Absolutely. And, he, along with the rest of the guys, played very well on Saturday. They were definitely the better team on Saturday. It wasn't even a question. You just hold your breath whenever it's a close game. It was 1-0 till scoreless at the end of the first period, and was 1-0 for most of the second period, until you get that second goal, and it was 2-0. You're kind of holding your breath,
right?
And then you go into the third period with a 2-0 lead, and you're still kind of waiting. You're not quite as edgy because you still got a little room for error. Once they put the third goal in, once Johnny got the second goal, it was all she wrote, because they were playing very well defensively. BU was not getting a whole lot of quality scoring chances on Saturday night either. ASU shut down their power play over the weekend. I believe it was 0 for 6 or 0 for 7. They didn't give up any shorthanded goals, which BU had been doing very well in for the season. As like I said last week, they were leading the country in shorthanded goals. And Joey was on his game again, and Joey did what Joey does. And, that's 7. What are they played now? They're 17, 10, and 1.
Yep.
So that's 28. He's got a shutout in 25% of the team's games.
Okay,
he's got 7 shutouts.
I'm going to throw this out there. How can the college hockey world look past putting Jake Keeley and Joey DeCord at the top of the goaltender list when you start talking Richter? I did the numbers again tonight. I put them up on Twitter. I said, these 2 have to be your top 2 choices. And I still give the nod to Joey just based on the fact that he's seen almost 200. Well, he's seen over 200 more saves than what Jake Keeley has. And on the other, he's got 7 shutouts versus 5. They're both the same in wins with 17. The save percentage is nearly identical. And I just don't know, with the strength of schedule that Joey's had versus, not to take anything away from Jake at all. You and I both know him. We've met him, had a chance to visit with him. He's a great kid and would be a great recipient. But I don't know how you can put anybody ahead of Joey DeCord right now. Want to make an argument for that?
I can't make the argument for it, other than this is like any other award. It tends to be popularity contests, unless there's a clear-cut favorite in the national mind. I haven't seen a whole lot in any of the college hockey websites that I look at, or any of the stories. None of that stuff has kind of come across on the Twitter feed. And right now it's kind of all about the Hobie Baker Award and the fan voting. So I don't have any sort of feel for how those voters are looking at that particular award. I would tell you that ASU's more aggressive offensive style meaning that him and Keeley having the same kind of numbers probably would have to lead you towards DeCord being slightly ahead of Keeley. But, and again, it's ASU and it's Clarkson.
Right.
You know, if one of these guys was putting up these kind of numbers at, I don't know, pick a school, Michigan,
right,
or
Minnesota Duluth.
I was trying to stay away from that, but okay, or North Dakota, they would already be handing it to them.
Right.
But since they're not, and you know, so.
Well, my
sit there and tell you, I don't know.
My bandwagon riding is going in full force now. With I think they both need to be finalists at the very least. I think they will both be finalists. I think it'll be a big thing for ASU hockey, no matter how the team does. If they can get at least an individual in that finalist category, bring them out to Buffalo for the Richter, bring them out for the Hobie if Johnny can get that close. You know, at some point in time, you got to quit turning a blind eye towards it because of the schedule and because of the fact that their numbers are there. I mean, Johnny leads by, 4 goals now? He's got 21. The next closest is 17.
Well, I watched the replay of the game from Saturday night just because some people were telling me, oh, you have to hear these guys, what they're saying. Comparing Johnny to a basketball player that never saw a shot that he didn't like. Well,
right.
You know, part of that is, I'm sure it was just fun and games, but part of that is, hey, you know, he's by far the leading goal scorer on the team, and he's probably the only natural goal scorer on the team at this point. So
right.
Who do you want to take the shots? Should he be passing them up to let somebody else take them? I don't. Yeah. I don't get what their point was.
Right.
So, but he's got 21 goals. It's not a fluke. He put 17 in last year. So, and the team wasn't as good.
Right.
And
well, I can tell you a couple things from practice today.
Well, let's hold on a second. Just one more thing before we get
throw it up.
Before we worry about practice and beyond. I just want to make sure people understand what Saturday night meant. Okay? I know we mentioned it in my little closing bit for the Sunday special, but this team in its third full season at D1 is going to finish with a winning record, even if they lose these last 6 games. Right. Think about that. In just 3 full seasons, they're going to have a winning record.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's been mentioned enough in any of the coverage that anybody else has given them after their weekend in BU. I don't think that that's been mentioned enough. And I understand that the players and the coaches don't want to settle for just having a winning season, but that's where we are in the chronology right now.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. I brought that up the last 2 weeks to the players, and they all told me that, yeah, that's great, but, you know, it would kind of be a sour season for us right now if we didn't get any farther. They can look at that at the end of the year, and I think that's why you're not hearing much about it right now, is that they don't want to talk about it. I asked Jake Clifford today about it. I said, you know, did you ever think when you came here 4 years ago that you were going to be on a team your senior year that was going to have a winning record and B, a chance at the NCAA tournament? And he kind of looked at me sheepishly and he said, well, we had goals, but we didn't really know, you know?
And I get that. And like I said, I don't have a problem with them not looking at it that way. You know, if Saturday was the last game of the season and they didn't talk about it, but I don't think those of us on the periphery, and I know it sounds crazy, but, and I'm not saying that they should settle for this. I just think it needs to be brought up.
Yeah.
That in 3 full seasons. So, okay, I'm done.
Okay, so here's what I noticed today. Coach Hicks was out on the ice early today with Demetrius.
Okay.
and was working on passes from the blue line to what would have been the right point, I guess, and letting Demetrius skate a couple of strides and shoot the puck. So watch for Demetrius to start shooting the puck a little bit more. That's just my observation. Also today, I saw a lot of speed drills. So they're obviously focusing on trying to enhance that speed a little bit. They did some fun stuff. They did some 4-on-4 full ice scrimmage. Like I said, coach wasn't even on the ice; he was on the bench watching. I also heard a lot of team camaraderie going on today. They were banging sticks like crazy at everything, at Evan DeBrouwer, at Joey. So this team is loose. This team is ready, and I think they're going to play their best hockey the next six games.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope they play their best hockey in their next game, which will be Friday night, because this is a balanced team they're going to be playing. Outside of their top scorer, their second through sixth scorer are all getting about 3/4 to 2/3 of a point a game. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's all, it's only like maybe a point or two away from a point a game. So they're pretty balanced. They have some good solid D-men, and the target is there, as the coach mentions in your little teaser,
right,
that you put out. The target is there because they have a number before their name and RIT doesn't, and they're going to come after them.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so we got the recap. We got a little bit about RIT in there. Now I want to wrap things up today by you talking about the Sun Devil Spirit that you did on the Sunday special. What did you see when you were able to get in depth with a few of these people about their belief in Sun Devil hockey and how far they think this program's going to go?
Well, I think that some of the people that I encountered were ASU fans in general. I mean, we all are. We root for all the ASU teams. But there were some that were Sun Devil fans and are following the hockey team because it's got ASU on the jersey. And there are some, as you would expect, that are very hockey intensive. And those people were pretty much all on the same page. Everybody's very excited. They know that this thing has a chance to go through the roof if it's managed correctly. And you know what that means.
Yeah.
And they are very, very excited. And they, too, look at this like a big, giant Christmas present. And every win just kind of builds things up and builds things up. And that's why when they have a game like Friday night, everybody's crushed.
Yeah, right.
Because
they're fans. They're true fans.
They're and not just fans, but Sun Devil hockey fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? And, like myself, never, ever thinking that this would even be a remote possibility. Forget going up to BU and winning at BU.
Right.
Okay? So I can tell you that those people that are not just Sun Devil fans, but Sun Devil hockey fans intensively are just ready to they're already on the bandwagon. It's not like they had to be like, come on, we're winning now. Come on. Okay.
Yep.
These are people that are hardcore and were there from the beginning and just super excited that the program exists and super excited about the possibility of what this could be long term and what it is right now. And they're just all like, come on, get us that next win. Get us that next win.
Right.
We're ready to swarm the rink in Providence. We're ready to swarm the rink in Manchester. We've got the cars warmed up and we're ready to go. And that's really the way they're looking. That's really the feeling, that intensity, that like we're getting ready to play ourselves.
Exactly. I hear you. Well, here's what I'd like to see happen from the ASU perspective. I can't say that this will happen. I'm just saying this is what I'd like to see. Let's say that we look down the crystal ball on March 3rd, and we're sitting with 22 wins and pretty much a lock to get into the NCAA tournament. We've got 3 weeks to plan this out. I think what ASU should do is plan a big get-together in Tempe with the selection show ready to happen on that Sunday morning. I think if they're...
Sunday morning?
That's when they do it,
right,
I think. Yeah, Sunday
Tempe
morning.
time, yeah, okay, yeah.
I think they should be ready for it, and I think Ray Anderson should come along with a pitchfork in one hand and a shovel in the other, and I think he should lift up a pitchfork and say, we're going to the national tournament, and on the other hand, he should take the shovel, stick it in the ground, and go, and the arena starts Monday.
Yeah, well, let me tell you that if you're going to have
some excitement,
if you're going to have a fantasy, that might as well be it. I don't think for 1 second that if ASU is close in terms of whether or not they're going to get a bid, it'll be one of those deals where that place in Connecticut will send a camera down to Tempe to get their reaction if their name comes up on the board. I don't think there's any question about it. Then I would just have to hope that if that happens, wherever they send them is a Saturday-Sunday deal as opposed to a Friday-Saturday deal.
Me and you both.
And
is there any way we could keep Clarkson out of our
I won't even care at that point. I really won't.
I will. I want to meet Clarkson for the national championship. That's what I want to do.
I'm sure they would take that.
Yeah, I bet they
Clarkson
would.
And me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me.
That would give the team 3 weeks to get ready. Well, no, at that point they will have already had a couple of weeks to go. But listen, there's no doubt from a story standpoint that will be a big story. I don't think there's any question about it. I think, and just when I read some of the columns about the early brackets, the NCAA has a tendency to move things around slightly to maximize attendance. And
absolutely.
That's just smart from a business perspective.
Yep.
And this is why you and I have said it, and the coach has said it, that people showing up at these games, it has an effect on people outside the program's mindset.
Absolutely.
So,
well, let's wrap things up with a trip back. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold in Rochester when they get there. They know it. They were teasing a little bit tonight on Twitter about maybe RIT wants to come down here for the weekend. It's gonna be bitter down here too. Listen, it's gonna be cold.
All the way down to what, rainy. 60?
And well, no, 70, 69 maybe. But it's gonna be rainy. It might
Hopefully
be a tenth of an inch.
Will be ready.
There could be a tenth of an inch of rain.
Listen, ask the RIT kids. I'm pretty sure they would. I don't know about the athletic department, but the players might.
Well, I know the ASU kids will be ready to do that, stay home at all. But you know what? I'm going to stop short of giving them a big congratulations, but I want to give them a pat on the back, basically because you brought it up and said somebody needs to say that this team has accomplished a lot already.
Yeah.
And no matter where they go from this point, I brought it up to Coach today. I brought it up to Jake Clifford today. I said, you guys have a board in your office and on your wall. And I know that it says a winning season is one of the things you want to check off. And I know now you can say that with confidence that you have a winning season at hand. So congratulations, Sun Devils. Let's not stop here. The magic number is 5. So let's just keep going and get those 5.
1.
All right.
I'm going to duke this out for the rest of the season. So the viewers might as well just get used to it if they're not already.
I'll tell you something. We're going to meet in the middle pretty soon because as they keep winning, that number is going to keep producing. And you and I will both, here in about, I don't know, 4 weeks or so, we're going to be in agreement that it was 1.
Here's hoping. I'll be more. Listen, I will be more than happy to meet you on this. Be more than happy to meet you on this. And I know they're not going to settle and I know they have bigger fish to fry right now, and I'm sure that they'll check that off on the board at the end of the season and not now. But let's hope that at some point in the next 3 weeks, we're both saying one.
Right. Well, we're going to wrap it up finally by saying a couple of things I want to tease. I already teased a little bit with the Powers play. It's a great show tomorrow. We're supposed to be the 5-minute Powers play. We took 2 majors on that one. It went a little over 10 minutes. So it's quality stuff tomorrow from Coach. He was very candid, talking about everything. So that's something to look forward to. The College Hockey Southwest Weekly, we had a great visit with Coach Alex Hicks. I went another 10, 11 minutes with Coach, talking about everything from his days in the ECHL to his days as a roller hockey champion to also his.
Did he play in RHI?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. Yes, in Buffalo. And
did he?
And Tom Callahan watched him. He was a season ticket holder at the time and saw him play.
Well, my buddy coached the Long Island
Stampede. Stuff. It was a Buffalo Stampede at the time.
Yeah, and my buddy coached the Long Island Jaws, so...
Yeah, you'll get a kick out of hearing Coach talk about that. And then Here's the thing I want you to listen for. Towards the end of it, we talked about the style of play that he had and the changes in hockey and how he thinks that we need to get back to a little bit more physical play where you take care of an eye for an eye, is what he told me. I'm just going to leave it at that. And I thought it was some really candid, really interesting comments from a guy that's played a lot of hockey and has seen it in the beginning and he's seen it right now and what his thoughts are on that. I thought it was fantastic stuff. So that's a great tease on that one. And then, of course, our senior series continues with Jake Clifford, who really all 5 of those guys, all 5 of those seniors are backbones, but Jake is one of the best, and it was really a fun interview today, so watch for that on Saturday.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. See you next week, and let's get a couple of wins under our belt.
All right. Magic number 1. Talk to you later.